Godot Card Game roguelike deck builder framework, part 4. In this part we will go over the card pile. It's about 200 lines of code. I will separate it into 2 videos. So first thing is the card pile name. It can be used if you get the card pile and you wanted to do some functionality by its name, so that's why I added this. To the card pile you can add cards if it's a deck, if it's this card pile, if it's somewhere you need to drag cards to, like this card makes you discard 2 cards, so you'll have to drag over it 2 cards. So this will hold the cards by their name. The only issue with that is upgradable cards. You'll have to make a system that, I don't know, either saves the upgrades beside the names and extract the upgrades from the name, or change this to get card objects, or another option. So these flags change the functionality of the pile. If this is true, you can drop cards onto, drag and drop cards onto this pile. When I'm talking about pile, I'm talking about these 3 things. So let's go back. Do card action when dropped. Some card piles, like let's say it's an enemy, right? So when I drop a card on it, or target a card, I want the card action. I wanted to do the card action. The card action is, where is it? Here, do card action. It will basically do this. Do card action costume. Where did I put it? Here. So basically it will run your card's action. So this decides that. Can be targeted by cards. On some piles you can just drag cards onto them, and like let's say it's a global pile or something, or some cards you can only target. So this helps with that. So this will be false if you don't want to drag and drop cards onto a pile. And this will be true, like you can only target this pile. If both are true, you can target, drop cards, and if this is true, you can also, the card's action will also happen. Can add cards. If you drop or drag cards onto this pile, will it add it to the cards array? In all of them, I made it so it's true. Show top card. By default, it's false. Only one of our piles shows the top card. So here, if I drag this card to this pile, it will show the top card, which is this, and it won't add anymore because I disabled. When we'll get to it, you'll see. So that's what this does. Also notice when I, let's say, target this, it doesn't show the top card. Here it shows the top card. Here it doesn't show the top card. This one will hold the top card scene as a reference. Card viewer. The card viewer is this thing. You use it to show all the cards inside the pile. Each pile has this here, a card viewer attribute. You take the card viewer and you drag it here, and it will save the card viewer path as text. So here, if you have a card viewer, get its node and put it on card viewer. So that way, if you want to open the card viewer, like in this section, when you double click this pile, for example, nothing happens. Oh, here you can view the cards that was dragged onto it. Okay. So here also, if you double click it, it will open the card viewer. I was surprised there, but if you drag it here and you click on it, it's disabled because it thinks I'm clicking on the top card. So yeah, so in that case I would just have to change click action do to nothing, and then it won't open the card viewer. But by default, it's the draw card to hand. So when I drag this card, when I double click, it draws them back to my hand. And now that the card pile is empty, it can't draw to my hand any other cards. So that's what this action does. I'll show it to you in the next video. Disables the card pile. Has mouse focus. If the mouse hovers the card pile, this will be true. This tells you if it was clicked or not. This tells you how many times it was clicked. And this resets the click counter, because if you double click it or click it once, and then after I don't know 20 seconds click it again, it doesn't count as a double click. So you need to have a timer to check if the player clicked it in quick succession. So that's basically what all of these attributes do. So as I said, has mouse focus. It's it turns true when you hover the card pile. Area to D. We connect the event mouse entered. We pass self, and we set has mouse focus to true when mouse enter, and when mouse exits, we set it to false. The area to D is, we will need the card pile scene. That's the area to D. See? Okay, moving on. So in the process, we first have the disable, so we can disable it. Then we check if cards are colliding, if cards are targeting this pile, or if it was clicked. Let's see the action when you target a pile. First, we check if it can be targeted at all, and then we check if mouse is hovering and player selected the card. So has mouse focus, and then selected the card, meaning the player is holding with his mouse a card or is targeting, because when you target this will be something. If you remember, let's see when you target. Right, when you stop targeting, the card's selected card will be null after a timer. But when you click a card, it will put it here. It will put self as the selected card. So when you drag from a targeting card, this will be like now the global card, the global selected card is this one, even if I'm not dragging it. And when I release it, it will trigger the event is hovering and selected card. So here you see it did the action. So if mouse is hovering and player selected card, if the card is a valid instance, and if it's a card at all. So we don't want other objects being treated as a card and getting a weird error or bug. Yep. So if it is a valid instance and in card group, place the card on the card pile. Which card? The global selected card. And also do a custom action if, let's say, this pile is an enemy or something. Or whatever kind of a pile it is that does any custom action. So when you extend this class, you will just have to edit this, and you won't even need to touch this, and it will do the action here and even pass the card. add card. First we check if we can add a card at all. And then if you can add a card, push it to the back of cards array. The card will be the card's name. Remove card, loops the cards, checks if the current card is the card to remove, removes the card scene and removes it from the array. Let's show you place card now. So place card, it checks only non-disabled card can be placed. So it must be not disabled and not view only, and the card you can't place a card that is moving to hand, like if it's in the middle of the animation. If all of these are true, or any of these is true, don't place the card. If the card is in hand and the hand hovers the card pile for some reason, if the card is not in hand, so if for any reason, let's say it's in the middle of animation or on the board for any other reason, you can't place the card. Only cards that are in hand can be placed. Here it says so here. And yeah, save the card name. You see, we save the card name, not the card object. And do card action when dropped. If this is true, if we set this to true here, do card action when dropped. So if do card action when drop is true, card do action and pass to it the card pile as the target, right? Like in card do action, it needs a target, right? So we target the card pile and we'll get the card pile in case we want to do something with it, like if it's an enemy and we want to reduce its HP or change its stats, we can do it here on the extended card object. Let's say in shield I get the card pile and I want to do something to the card pile. So now I can, because I have a reference to it. Next. And it also has a custom method. If card is in hand, remove card, the placed card. Yeah, it's self-explanatory. You put the card on the pile, it's no longer in your hand, so yeah. If show top card is true, show top card will, yeah, this basically duplicates the cards and puts it on top. We'll go over it later. I want to show you the card colliding too. If can drop cards, like if you can drag and drop a card, see, we can drag and drop on all of them. If can drop is true, then you move on to the next line. If it's not, if you can drop, return. Card colliding, area to be get overlapping areas. Basically, we check if the cards, let's see, since card also has an area to D, as you can see. So if the areas are colliding, we'll get it as an in this. This returns an array, so we'll get the colliding card in this array. If card colliding has anything in it, if it's not an empty array, for each colliding card, get the parent of the area, of the colliding area. Will basically, you'll get this area, you'll get the area when the card will collide with the pile. We want the parent, the card object itself, not its area node. So this will get us the card. We check if it's a card at all. If it's not if whatever was colliding with the pile's area is not a card, continue to the next overlapping area. If card released, if you release the card, place the card. Basically, if I drag it, nothing happens. If I release the mouse, it will place it, and it will do all of this which I've explained. So this is used for targeting and dragging, and it does the same. So yeah, it will run the placed card action, even if you like. Basically, it will do the same for dragging and dropping and for targeting. Okay. So that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson I will show you the rest of the 100 lines of code, the show top card, and what happens when you double click the card. And in the input, I'll show it to you in the next video. That's it for this lesson.